welcome to our regularly scheduled meeting for Monday, November the 10th. Just the microphone down for the folks online. We have 4 public hearings before we get to our regular meeting, so we'll enter into our public hearings now. The first one is a public hearing on a request to rezone a property located at 107 South Polk Street from general commercial C2 to neighborhood commercial C3. Is there anyone here this evening that wishes to speak to that rezoning? Seeing none, we'll close that public hearing and move to the second. The second is a public hearing on a request to rezone a property located at 808 East Lincoln Street from general commercial C2 to neighborhood commercial C3. Is there anyone here to speak to that rezoning request? Seeing none, we'll close that public hearing. The third one is a public hearing on a request to rezone property located at 43500 and a to-be-determined address on Oakwood Road from medium-density residential R2 to high-density residential R3. Is there anyone here to speak on that public hearing? Seeing none, we'll close that public hearing. And then our final public hearing is a public hearing on a request to rezone property located at 603 Franklin Street from C2 to neighborhood commercial C3. Is there anyone here to speak to that public hearing? All right, seeing none, our public hearings are closed. If you would stand, and we'll have the invocation. Reverend Edward Smith.
Let us pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. May thy kingdom come, thy will be done in this meeting tonight as would be pleasing unto you. We thank you for this day. We thank you for this board, and we thank you for the city of Tullahoma. Great place to live, and we thank you for the privilege to live here. And I pray that you'd be in this meeting tonight. We pray not only for this meeting, for our country. We pray that things would get worked out soon so people would get back to work. And we know that you know what's best there. We sure don't, but we know that you do. We just pray that you would have your own way tonight. We want your will to be done in every item that's presented to this board, that they would have the wisdom and the knowledge to know what needs to be done. Watch over them and watch over our city, our first responders, all of their assignments, watch over them and take care of them. Help us, we do pray, to be at our best for thee, in Jesus' name. Amen. Let's pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, a little better. Thanks to everyone for coming out on a very chilly night. Winter has arrived with a vengeance today. Our first thing to do here was, first of all, roll call. So I think we've got hopefully our system working today, but we've got our roll call done, all 7 present. We want to recognize our honorary aldermen from the Mayor's Youth Council, and so if you ladies will come forward here. They warn you that I might ask you to say something. When you leave, oh, sorry, I said it wrong. Then, and Wilson, if you would step up here and hold those for a while. That's fine.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Let me get one more. 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you.
You would just briefly tell us who you are, and we have to just step to the microphone. If you don't mind, just tell us who you are, what you did at high school.
Hi, my name is Winnie Lynn. I am a part of the THS band, FBLA, and Tullahoma tennis, and I'm also the sophomore class president at THS.
Hello, my name is Emma Wilson, and I'm a part of Mayor's Youth Council, Student Council. I'm also in FBLA, and I'm in THS band.
Thank you, ladies. Thanks for coming tonight. Next, we'll have comments from citizens. All citizens will be invited to speak for up to 3 minutes about any matter within the purview of the board. Please speak in the microphone. Start by stating your name and address. And our first person who is signed up ahead of time is Destiny Holmes.
Good evening. My name is Destiny Holmes. I know everyone has met me before, but I will always reintroduce myself for those who have not had the chance to meet me. I am a member of the community, a parent, and a co-founder of Garden Youth Outreach, which stands for Goals Are Reachable During Educational Networking. Today, we wanted to show our appreciation to the city of Tullahoma. Investing in our community spaces is important. The revitalization of Jefferson Street Park is more than just a project. It's a reflection of how much we care about the people who live and work in the city of Tullahoma, as well as those who visit Jefferson Street Park. When the need for improvement became clear, our city didn't turn away. Instead, we stepped forward, not alone, but together, listened, planned, and took action. That kind of commitment and collaboration truly shows the heart of the community and how it has grown. We understand it cannot be done within a short amount of time, and certain steps have to be taken, but as long as we continue to put our best foot forward, it can and will be done. We are excited to see where this energy and enthusiasm will lead us next. We are willing and ready to do whatever we can to make this happen. With continued support from our city leaders, residents, and local partners, we know this is only the beginning of something even greater for our city's future. We will continue to support y'all as y'all continue to support us. We are genuinely willing to work and walk hand in hand with everyone willing to do the same with us. We wanted to take the time out to show our appreciation to the following individuals: Mayor Seaborn, Alderman McGee, City Administrator Quick, Parks and Rec Director Kraft, and Deputy Director Dameron. You all came out to Jefferson Street Park so you could see for yourself firsthand where our concerns stood. Y'all are all highly appreciated for doing so. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up is Chuck Dean.
Hi, yes, Chuck Dean, 419 Albemarle Drive. I've noticed all agenda items have a caption as to who the item is from and what the background is of the item. But tonight, with one exception, agenda item 25-126 doesn't state who it's from or state a background as to the reason or the need for the item. Somebody submitted it, and somebody must have a reason for doing so. Was it just an oversight that this information wasn't provided? Without the background input to review prior to a meeting, the citizens cannot properly evaluate and comment on an agenda item. I don't know all the rules or procedures for presenting an agenda item, but the submittal of this item appears to be incomplete. If the submittal is incomplete, should it actually be taken up by Bowman tonight? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that would like to speak during public comment? No, we'll move on. So our next item is approval of the agenda. I see that we have an item laying here about the garbage truck. Do we need to add that to the agenda? Can we get a motion to do that at least, so we can at least discuss it?
I'll motion to do.
I'm sorry, yeah, we need a motion to approve the agenda first, and then we'll. So motion second from Alderman Byrd, Alderman Mathis. Now entertain motions to amend the agenda. So we have a motion from Alderman Wilson to add this item on the garbage truck. Any other, sorry, do we have a second on that?
I'll second. I can't.
All right.
Won't let me.
Any other motions to amend the agenda?
I'll second it.
No, we got the second.
Okay.
I'm sorry, we have any other motions?
I do have one item, but I'm not certain if we're supposed to wait until we get to the agenda item.
This is the time to amend the item to either. Okay, yeah, let's do this one. I'm sorry, we're going to vote on one at a time. So is there any discussion on the garbage truck? If not, let's vote on adding that to the agenda. I'm sorry, you ready for that? All right, so that carries 7-0, so that item's added to the agenda. Mr. Byrd.
It would be a motion to divide an item into two separate items. Would that be now, or when we get to the item?
We should probably do that now.
I'd like to make a motion to divide item 25-122 as to consider separately the approving of the org chart and creation of the HR director position. Also with that, the vote for the HR director position to happen before the decision on the org chart, since one would impact the other.
Okay, do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, Alderman Thomas seconds that. Any discussion on that item, on that amendment? If not, let's vote on that. I'm sorry, you're still writing.
So we're dividing item 25-124.
Yeah. With the first part to be motion on the new HR director, and the second part to be the approval of the org chart. Any discussion on that? All right, if not, we'll vote. And motion carries 6-0. Any other amendments to the agenda? If not, let's vote on the full agenda now. I gotta slow down. All right. So we're voting now on the agenda, right?
Mine's still showing motion to amend.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Mine is too.
Oh, yeah, mine was too.
There we go back. Well, it still says the motion to agenda.
Into the cold
All right, approval of the agenda.
No, that's still not it.
Divided into two votes. It said it until it went to vote and it changed or something. Still says motion to amend the agenda.
Should say motion to
Approve the agenda. There we go. Passed. All right, agenda is approved. So now we can move on to reports from Aldermen. I can't remember which side I started last time. I'll start with Alderman Toma this time.
Mr. Mayor, I first want to express my appreciation for the thoughts and prayers for my family last Monday. I will tell you this, I would have much rather been here than sitting in Erlanger Hospital Monday night. I'm proud to have a new granddaughter, Liza, but my daughter-in-law had some complications from childbirth, and fortunately that was taken care of the next day. But I do appreciate, again, the thoughts and prayers, and would a lot rather been here, I think, than sitting in a hospital. I did have the privilege and pleasure to do a ride-along with Officer George Dotson. It was quite an experience. It was about 4 hours. And in 4 hours, just to give you an idea of what our department does, we had an illegal parking, a speeding ticket, which I thought Officer Dotson did an excellent job in handling. We had a trespassing, a domestic violence, a DUI, and that's another experience. and then they wrestled a deer out of South Jackson Civic Center. They did all that. We ought to be proud of our officers and respect what they do on a daily basis. I thought it was very appreciative for Officer Dotson to thank this board in regards to the equipment and the vehicles that we allowed them to have, and I really appreciated that. The other item, I was not here, but I want to address, and that's the Wilson Avenue project. More symbolic, I would have been in favor of the neighbors. I think that project is not fitting for the neighborhood. That item or that development was out Wilson Avenue or maybe out Ledford Mill Road. But it's real concerning to me that we're not, in my mind, protecting the integrity of our neighborhoods. You know, one of the statements when I read through the minutes was the concern for water. When you put 4 retaining ponds, as I understand it, there's obviously an identity of a potential water issue. My concern is who's going to take care of those retaining ponds? It's usually stagnant water in those ponds. Who's going to handle the mosquitoes that provide diseases, as we all know? By stating that, I feel there's got to be solutions. The developers met the criteria, but I'm sad that they don't take into consideration the neighborhood of which they're placing their developments in. I know that my brother-in-law lives in Brentwood, and they apparently have found a way to address this issue, but not at the pleasure of the developers. And I know Nashville now is going through a process of trying to redo and redevelop certain areas there. I apologize, because one of the reasons and items that I ran on was quality control growth, and I get more questions on why things are being built where they are. And I feel like it's going to be addressed. It is on one of our study sessions, and I hope that's addressed soon. What we can do and how we can do it, it's going to take a collaboration between the board, the planning commission, and hopefully interested citizens. So I state that on that behalf. And I hope we can address that soon. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Alderman Lee.
I have no report tonight.
Alderman
I
Mathis.
have no report tonight.
Alderman McGee.
Thank you. I just have 2 quick things to report. I did enjoy meeting with the members of the Garden Outreach Program, walking through Jefferson Street Park, looking at ways to revitalize the playground equipment at Jefferson Street. And I also participated in the trunk or treat that was sponsored by the Tullahoma Parks and Recreation Department. And that's all I have.
Alderman Wilson.
Thanks, Mayor. Last week, I, along with the mayor and several other aldermen, attended the Tennessee Governor's Conference. It was sold out, so it was a very well put together program as well. 2 of the breakout sessions that I attended that I thought was really full of information. The 2 that I focused on was the ecotourism and workforce development, which highlighted how outdoor recreation and natural assets can support local jobs, attract visitors, and help strengthen rural economies. There's a strong connection between protecting natural spaces and building a competitive workforce. The second one that I attended was the downtown revitalization. There were several different Tennessee communities that were represented there, spoke there about, and shared how they've transformed their downtowns through coordinated planning, historic preservation, arts-based projects, and use of state grant programs. That was really interesting. So I look forward to delving more into those monies and how it might be a benefit to Tullahoma. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Byrd.
Mr. Quick had asked that I give an update on the airport fuel spill from 2 weeks ago. The airport is still awaiting on a response from their insurer, unless there's been an update since then. You want to take it now? Or?
I spoke with the adjuster twice today, provided some information that he was looking for. It had been delayed just a couple of days because they had transferred that case over to another adjuster. He is looking at a few things and told me that he would be back in touch with me tomorrow with his thoughts on the claim.
The OES cleanup crew has been working tirelessly to clean up the area. They currently have 95 to 98% of the fuel accounted for. They're actually going to start removing some of the emergency cleanup equipment this week, and we'll be moving into the corrective action. TDEC has been pleased with the response so far, but has indicated they're going to do a follow-up after the end of the year. We're also looking into funding to help with upgrades to help prevent future incidents. Codes Director Nick Kimbrough has been instrumental in working with EMA and OES on this. There are several options that we can use in the future to help prevent something like this from leaving airport property. And just a huge thank you to the EMA, to OES. This has been a big incident that could have been worse, and luckily it hasn't. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So as far as my report, just similar comments. I was also very happy to get to tour through the Frank Street Park. Appreciate the good tour guides on that, and I think there's definitely some obvious things that we can do there if we can figure out how to get it funded, and I just think it's a good opportunity to make something a lot nicer. I also attended the governor's conference last week. I've been to that conference before, but it's been a few years, and it was well run. The other topics that I attended on breakout sessions, which was big topics throughout everywhere you go right now, which was AI, and also one session was a combination of AI and nuclear power. And the state of Tennessee is actually sitting in a prime position to be the leaders in new modular reactor nuclear power. A lot of that work's being done out of Oak Ridge, and then TVA is very interested in that as well. And there's actually a proposed project right now
rezone, it allows most of the same uses. It just allows the lots to be slightly narrower and slightly smaller for a duplex, which allows it to fit and conform with the roadway that was already started. It will allow the applicant to develop these 4 vacant lots. One of them did have a trailer on it that has been removed and is being replaced with a residence.
How does that conform to the current neighborhood?
The resulting lots will be very similar in size to the other.
Well, not size, but occupancy. I mean, most homes there are single, and you're gonna dump in duplexes.
The homes there, personally, I did not go out and check to see how the homes are inhabited.
Hopefully this is not linear circle, right? There's a lot of single family residents, but I haven't been down there in a while. You know, this kind of conforms to the fact that, again, I get all these questions, why is this popping up? These little apartment buildings popping up in my neighborhood. Now it's on that high. So there against my concern. If we move this from C2 to R3, can we still put duplexes in R3?
Moving from R2 to R3?
Or where it is now? It's
You can
R3.
still put a duplex in R2. The uses don't change. The main tangible difference in going from R2 to R3 is that the 2-family dwelling in R2 is required to be on a 20,000 square foot lot, and the single-family dwelling is on a 10,000 square foot lot. And then in R3, the 2-family dwelling can be on a 7,500 square feet per unit lot, which for a duplex would be 15,000 square feet. So it allows you to make the lots slightly shallower. You still have to have the required lot width of 125 feet. So all it does is it lets you take a little bit of depth off the back of the lot to put the duplex in.
So you can't double up on that lot.
No.
You can change the.
No, it doesn't allow any substantial increase in density. It just allows the Chastain Street to be constructed as it was originally designed. If it was to be left in R2, the lot would be too shallow, even though they're wide enough to fit the road.
I have another remark. I would like to say, for the record, that moving forward, I will not vote for anything, or I will vote no on anything that where it's not complete. So, I mean, that's just from where I am with that.
Any other comments? Now, let's vote on this one. Passes 4-3. And then final rezoning, an ordinance to amend the zoning map of the city of Tullahoma to rezone parcel located at 603 South Franklin Street from general commercial C2 to neighborhood commercial C3 for passage on the first of 2 readings. Good motion. And second. Motion second. I'll go back in my back as well. Same issue here, so can you explain this one, what the plan is?
Yes, this one, we've had some difficulty getting this one taken care of. The applicant might be some language barrier. But this lot currently has 4 apartments on it that were constructed. This lot is zoned C2. C2 does not permit apartments. So the applicant really had 2 options to remedy the situation. The apartments could either be vacated and restored back to commercial property, which would replace several people. The other option the applicant had was to request a rezone of the property to allow the property to accommodate the apartment units. The applicant decided to go with the request for a rezoning rather than pushing those residents out and converting the property back. The building itself was already standing. There were interior modifications that were done, but outside of that, that's a question for the codes department. I just handled that.
So you have any idea what the
How old is the idea? Yeah.
I can't answer
I mean, we have a
that.
number of spots like this on our zoning map where things are kind of out of zone. As we find those, clean them up, what kind of years?
It's probably been there about 10, 15, 20 years maybe.
I think I know the general area.
Any other questions for Mr. Reed?
Just again, on this application, there's nothing on there for explain in detail what you propose to do with the property and outline any long-term plans for the property. In the future, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but you know that there's a lot of applications in this one agenda packet that have nothing on them, and I think that that's very important for us to have in order to make a decision, and also for transparency purposes for the public. And I am not comfortable after tonight, if apparently we have voted things through like that in the past. I will not continue to do that.
I don't receive the applications and intake them myself personally.
Oh, I'm not getting on to you. I'm just saying to whomever takes those.
I'll make sure that we review the applications, and I'll put a note in that all fields in the application must be filled out in completion before that application is taken and before the fee is received. I'll make sure that that section and all sections will be filled out on all future applications.
I was going to say, do we have sections that might be optional in some cases? And I want to be careful saying that all fields.
As far as my knowledge, that an optional field is redundant. The only optional field that I know of is one where the applicant is able to indicate a representative or give someone a power of attorney to apply in their stead, or an owner authorization. Those forms and those options are optional for legality
So
reasons.
let's just make sure we know that, yeah. Some people have, okay.
The only other comment is in support of Mr. Wilson. The other thing is, I'm disturbed about us coming in and correcting an error. If this gentleman had built these, which we don't know, and didn't properly meet the codes or meet the zoning, that bothers me because I don't know, and I certainly don't want to kick people out of their homes. But there again, the situation, why have zoning if you're not going to abide by what the zoning is?
You're
And that's,
assuming that it's the developer's fault, not the city's fault. The city's fault sometimes with those two.
well, it could be. I mean, it could have been, don't misunderstand me. We're all subject to having our faults, for sure. And I'm certainly one to say that I've never had. But I just want to be careful with this stuff in the future. Correct it, okay, but then let's not get, in my opinion, let's not use that as an excuse for somebody else to come in and go, I'm sorry, I didn't know the deal.
So with the rezones, anybody is able to make a request for a rezoning on their property, and I have to bring that to the planning commission, and then regardless of planning commission recommendations, it is brought before you. You're not required by law to approve rezones. You don't have to provide reason other than your opinion to make your decision on those. So you can decide to vote any way you want on approval or denial of a rezoning request. These ones are pretty open for your opinion.
Well, it's been there 15 years, and apparently it hasn't affected
15 to 20
neighborhood.
at least.
All right, any other discussion? All right, let's go to this one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. We got 6, right? So that's not too great. the end of the ordinances. That brings us to our next item, which we have split in two. So I'm going to turn that to make sure to get it right. We're going to deal with the second portion first. So I'm just going to read this portion so we all know what we're debating here. This was an item submitted by our city administrator, and writes in here for item 2, the second part of this. At the August 26, 2024 meeting of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, the position of City Recorder and Human Resource Officer was presented and approved by the Board. During this meeting, it was explained to the Board that the City Administrator would review the position every 30 to 90 days to ensure the effectiveness required of this combined position could meet the city's needs. Furthermore, I stated that if we were determined that the new combined position was not operating effectively as designed, I would return to the Board with a different option. After observing, reviewing, and considering the workload associated with the current City Recorder Human Resources Officer position, including the ongoing training required in the evolving field of human resources, I have decided that this position should be eliminated and the two roles will be separated once again. The Human Resources Director job description will be updated and the position will be posted on November 11th, 2025. It will remain under the direction of the City Administrator as outlined in Tullahoma City Municipal Code 1-302 duties. First of all, do we have a motion to discuss this? Motion from Alderman Byrd. Second. Discussion. All right, so second for discussion purposes. Discussion, Ms. Wilson, do you want to start since you made the motion? You don't have to, just, you know.
I did make the motion.
I'm sorry, Mr. Burke.
I do have a little issue with this. We have another agenda item that it would be the bringing in of a third party to give recommendations on what we could outsource for HR. If we were to reinstate an HR director right now and then in the future take away some of those job responsibilities, it would change the person that we might hire for that job. We might not need someone who's required to do certain tasks anymore. So that's my thoughts right now.
So, if I'm understanding this, are we voting to hire a director?
If we were to approve this, yes.
Okay. I have some issues with that. My concern is that this was addressed as a position that when I went back and looked at the minutes of August of 24, it was stated in here that particularly that this position was supposed to be reviewed every 90 days. Did you have any involvement with the person who was in that position?
I deal with her every day.
No, that's not my question. My question is, did you review with her what is stated on here, 30 to 90
Yes,
days?
we would have conversations throughout 30 to 90 days.
You want to make sure of that?
Are you asking about telling the truth, sir?
No, I'm asking you to confirm that, because I have been told that's not necessarily true.
That's not correct, sir. We've had those conversations on a daily basis, and I do not appreciate the fact that you have called into question if I'm telling the truth or not.
No, not questioning that. It's more than the fact that I think, but I understand that this has never been discussed before.
That is incorrect, sir.
Okay. The other question is, we've been in this predicament before, where we've had an outside HR person. And I think to all of a sudden, here after 15 months, to see a need for it when the person who's in that position seems to be doing a pretty good job. And the fact that the issues that we seem to need to address would be addressed in item 7, which is, in that particular case, I don't know if we can talk about it now, but it's virtually, in item 11, which would allow us to continue with the current position and provide a position or provide outside third party for grievances and complaints. So I'm not in a position where I would get excited about changing our part to be able to state that we are going to hire another director at this time. I think it would be very inappropriate to do, and I think our experience has shown that has not worked well for the city.
I want to make a point of verification. Under no
Okay.
circumstance am I saying that Ms. Ashley is not doing an outstanding job. In fact, I tell her that just about every day. This has to do with her workload. As the city recorder workload and then this HR workload, the workload has become more than what we anticipated. So
Well,
this
I
has
th-
nothing to do with her effectiveness in that position.
So after 15 months, that decision has just now been made. It had been discussed
Workload over the
before.
last 15 months, that workload has increased.
Do you not think that workload would be decreased in the result of us having outside resources?
The outside resources that the board is considering, and that is for the board to determine, not me. I'm responsible for the Department of HR, I'm responsible for these employees, and as my contract says, I'm responsible for the effective organization and such. That's why I brought this forward.
But I think the issue here to me too is we've had issues in regards to your position. And my concern is, and one of the things that I would like to see alleviated is putting that upon our current person and keeping it outside of the influence of anybody in regards to an employment position. And this virtually puts that HR person under you, correct?
That HR person has been under me since day one, since I've been here. Correct.
Well, that position, but you're talking about a director. You're talking about a whole new department under you.
We have an HR department.
We just got through saying that you want to hire. Am I misunderstanding this?
You have a city recorder / human resource officer.
Correct.
She handles the higher level. We have Carrie Rourke, who does an outstanding job on the day-to-day onboarding and all of the paperwork that goes with that. That is an HR department.
So we have an HR director now.
We have a human resource officer.
Okay, so you want to create an HR director?
I'm not creating, I'm re-implementing a position that we've had.
It's kind of bringing back up something that we haven't, that we've shown we really haven't needed. Have you had a lot of complaints from our person who's currently doing the HR officer position?
What I will tell you is this, I am not going to speak about any more conversations I've had with Ms. Ashley. I did not want to put her in that predicament. Ms. Ashley and I work very well together. I'm trying to make sure that she's not overworked.
I have some comments. I'm not opposed to entertaining, whether or not this might be something that we may look at doing. What I actually propose is that we have maybe a study session with the aldermen and maybe the heads of the department to kind of talk more about what our HR needs are. But we have kind of discussed as a board that we need to, the need or the possibility of obtaining services from an HR company to help look at our HR to see what our needs are and kind of like look at our policies to see, if any of those policies need updating. And I guess, while I think that I would like to see what our needs are before I feel like that we have a lot of moving pieces and that we're doing things real quickly in regards to the HR department. So I guess where I am with this is that I feel like that I would like to see what an outside company maybe looks at what our needs are for the HR department and our policies and all that stuff before we start, making any rational decisions. That's where I am.
agree with you. I mean, all of a sudden, we're thrown in with a change in our chart that puts in a new individual or a new position tonight. And then there apparently is a need to put out a solicitation for employment being offered tonight. That's in that, if you'll read what was on page 90, this is where I'm getting it from. After observing review, blah, 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 I had decided that this position should be eliminated and Human Resource Director's job description will be updated and the position will be posted November 11th. That's tomorrow. And I think in any position, especially when we're developing a new or adding a new department, that there's definitely more need to discuss it amongst us than making a decision on that tonight. And I think you're right.
With the study session, I think that's a really would be a smart way for one, to be transparent with the public, for two, just so that we can kind of brainstorm what we think that we need.
Any other comments?
Yes. I'm not saying that I would never vote for this. I just think that it might be a little premature at this time. We've kind of been all over the place on the HR. A few weeks ago, we voted to hire an HR firm to look at, and I think that's still going on in our quest to do that. And now we're already hiring, or now we already have another request here to hire an HR director. When we get an HR firm to help us and to make recommendations, that might be the first recommendation they make, that we need to hire an in-house HR director. So I'm not saying that I would never vote for it. I'm just saying it's a little premature at this time. So I think Ms. Wilson's idea about the study session may be a good idea. We need to get together at some point and distill down exactly what we want to do. Like I said, it seems like we've kind of been all over the place. And I don't think, it seems like to me also that we've been rolling with this speed forward like a snowball rolling down the hill. And I think it's time to pump the brakes a little bit and look at this and really make a decision, because this is something that is going to affect a lot of people, employees, and frankly, it affects every citizen in this town. So I think we just need to hold off on this right now.
Is that a motion you can make?
I think we've already got a motion. Yeah. Ms. McGee?
I agree with what's been said so far, but we still need to look at putting someone in place so the current employees can have someone to bring grievances to.
And we're going to discuss that in the later agenda item.
And then I'll save mine.
So,
Okay.
can you tell me what the motion is now?
Well, the motion is on approval of this second part of the agenda item you just have in front of you. That's the way we restructured the agenda. Yes or no. So that's a yes or no.
So this would be item.
Maybe the mayor can read it again.
What is it? Item number 25-122A.
And then there's an A, and then there'll be a part B.
And there's a B.
So number 2 is part A, and number 2 is.
25 from 26 is part B.
So the A, when we broke it into two, A is going to be number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then B is going to, so we're flip-flop.
It didn't make a lot of sense to vote on the new org chart if we weren't going to approve it.
I agree with you. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
No, that's okay. Okay, has everybody finished their comments? If they are, let's vote on this, the approval of posting a new position for a city administrator. I'm sorry, HR director, sorry. Okay, that motion fails 7-0. The next item on the agenda then is the first part of that, to approve the new org chart. So do we want to have a discussion on this? If so we've got a motion. Does anybody want to make a second? If there's no second, the motion.
You want to say something?
I was going to say, for clarification, I can bring back that B.
So
You just bring it back as a separate item at the next board meeting.
Yeah.
With just dotted line changes.
Yeah. But for tonight, if we don't have a second, then there's no discussion, and the motion fails. Okay. So that motion fails for lack of a second. Move on to the next agenda item, which is, where did we add? We had the garbage truck at the end, I guess. A request for the Parks and Recreation Department to accept the contract agreement and the guaranteed maximum price of $632,780 from C&H Commercial Contractors to build the grounds maintenance facility and authorize mayor to execute the same. Do we have motion second on that? We have motion from Alderman Byrd, second from Alderman McGee. As I recall, we voted the funding on this the last time, so now we're voting on the contract. Is that correct?
What the board asked for was for a breakdown in pricing, and so they were able to provide that to us rather quickly. I believe, in fact, if you have questions regarding any of that, we have a number of C&H here in case you have any specific questions.
But did we not vote to approve the contract the last time?
You did.
But we asked for transparency purpose for the public, that we could put, and I like to have all of the.
So we have that. Is there a need to vote on this again? So we already voted to approve it? Yeah.
It's actually the contract with the guarantee.
That's what I was thinking, yeah. So last time was proposal, this time is the contract. Okay. All right. What are you doing, Terry? Anybody got any questions for the Parks and Rec?
My name is Terry Earthman. I'm a member of the team with C&H Commercial Contractors, and I'll answer a question if you need me to.
Any questions?
And I thought it looked good. I just wanted it for the purposes of knowing what was what as far as the pricing. But thank you.
C&H was the one that did our most recent project at Johnson Lane, did an outstanding job on the pavilion, the bathrooms, and I would expect them to do a similar job with this maintenance building.
I just wanted to say thank you for the speed in getting this put together.
Yeah, that was fast.
It's really quick, and it was good to be able to see the reason why the price was what it was.
Now, we've been fighting cost increases from metal building manufacturers for months now. I know that when we first started this project, we have probably lost $7,000 just in price increases over time in tariffs. If tariffs hit us again, we're trying to get this all locked in. Right now, we have our metal building locked in, so we're just trying to wait for signatures.
Sure.
That's it.
There's no other questions on this. Let's vote. Seven yes. So that carries. Then the next one is a request, item 25-124, a request from the Parks and Recreation Department to approve a services agreement contract with Rec Technologies for the implementation and support of recreation management software in the amount of $15,000 and authorize the mayor to execute the same. You have a motion and a second on that? Second motion from Alderman Glick, second from Alderman McGee.
Wow, JP, he does a great job of explaining this product.
So for about 3 years, we've used Civic Rec to pretty much run all the department's needs. Civic Rec does not have a mobile platform. As many of you know, the whole world now runs on a cell phone or a tablet. Civic Rec must be accessed from a PC, so we lose a lot of people signing up for junior MBA. We lose a lot of people renewing their membership. It's throwing a lot more work on the front desk staff. It's throwing a lot more work on us because the people don't have access. We've gone through many of these software people. There's Vermont Systems, there's RecTrack, RecCast. I mean, there's a million. Rec is fairly new. It was designed by the people that do like Airbnb or some of the ones that are very easy to use now, Amazon, things like that. It's about $9,000 annually. The one-time $6,000 implementation fee will take the information already in Civic Rec and load it into there. system. It will train our staff. It will make all kinds of processes and things that will streamline. One of the big things is daily reporting. We are now operating more concession stands. Actually, next year we'll take on 2 more concession stands. We have to run that on a tablet. We do not have PCs out there. We do not have wired internet in a lot of locations. So what we're doing now is we're running 2 systems. We're running CiviCreg for the day-to-day at the community centers, and we're running a Converge software, which is for the remote concessions. That makes 4 reports a day, 2 cash, 2 credit cards. That not only does my department reconcile, but then Sue's department has to reconcile. 2 deposits, 2 deposits into the credit card account. It's become, we have it down pat now, but it's taken us a year and a half, I think, to figure out how to streamline it. We spent most of the summer last summer fighting with this. So those are 2 of the main reasons. There's some other reasons. When you go to buy your car tags or you go to pay your taxes, the entity gets all of the money. We do not. We have that 300%. We're going to pass that to the end user to where when we charge $3 for coming to DWS, we get all $3. Right now, we're not getting that. That costs the taxpayer no money. So one thing this company can do is they can put the 3.5% or whatever it is on to the end user. This will reduce, you see there, a small report Sue's office did for me. We spent about $9,358 in credit card fees over the last year. So that will reduce the burden on the taxpayer.
Is this reoccurring?
It is $9,000 annually. It is for support. Every resident of Tullahoma has a free account with us to play basketball.
The $6,000 in that. This is the 15th, so
there will be no charge.
Fantastic.
No, 6,000. Well, and that's the first year because it's $6,000 plus 9.
I got you. Okay.
Any other questions? We're doing math over here in the corner. Anything else? Any other questions, Mr. Craig? If not, let's vote. That gets approved 7-0. Thank you. Next is a request from the Police Department, number 25-125, a request from the Police Department to approve the purchase of one 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500 for animal control for $41,929.70 from Carl Black Auto Group, Nashville, Tennessee, state contract number 209. A motion on that? A motion second. We have a report on that?
Sure. As has been customary, a lot of our vehicles, once they reach a certain point, then they kind of get handed down to animal control. That has been the case over the past several years. Unfortunately, those vehicles have started becoming almost in a state of disrepair. They're continually without the service of one and up to 2 vehicles. In looking at this, there is a reserve account for animal control equipment. And so we looked at purchasing used vehicles similar to when we were looking at the vehicle for TAEC. Used does not give you the benefit because while pricing for warranty and mileage will come back to make that not such a good deal. So we were looking at purchasing a vehicle for the animal control.
Okay. Any questions on that one?
I have a question, and it's not necessarily about this vehicle, but I know everybody's noticed over the last year or so we've bought vehicle after vehicle after vehicle, but I never see come across our desk where we're ever surplusing, or very rarely do I see a vehicle come across where we're surplusing vehicles. And from what I understand, we have a lot of vehicles sitting around that aren't used, that have been replaced. And I just want to know if that's true, and if it is, why aren't we surplusing these things faster?
Alderman Luke is correct that it's been a while since we brought you
some of the surplus items. Sometimes the department head puts in there a request to surplus the same time they're buying. Then annually, our purchasing person brings back, usually annually by annually, a list of ones that are sitting in the unrepairable. And we've got about 3 that are approved surplus that we haven't gotten to go bids yet. And we've probably got, I would say, 3 or 4 more that should be brought to you for surplus.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure they weren't sitting around and getting older, and as they get older, they're worth less, and also costing us insurance if we're still holding insurance on them or whatever. So,
That's a good point.
I just wanted to say, if anyone's talked with someone from animal control, this is a much-needed purchase. I did have a question. Will this fit the existing animal carrier that's on the back?
Yeah, I believe, yes.
Okay, that was my only question.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? If not, we'll vote. Okay, that item is approved 7-0. That brings us to our next item, item number 25-126, request to authorize the city attorney's office to retain an HR firm for 3 purposes. Number 1, to address employee complaints and grievances. Number 2, to review and make recommendations to the city's personnel policies. And number 3, make recommendations for any other appropriate HR services. Do we have a motion and a second to discuss? Motion from Alderman Toma, second from Alderman Byrd. Mr. Toma, you made the motion. Do you have any comments?
I think this is much needed. I think it'll address some of the issues that we have. Give us a third-party viewpoint on some of the issues that we've been addressing. I think it gives an opportunity for the employees to feel a lot more comfortable to bring any potential complaints or grievances, but also think it'll help us with their assistance to evaluate those and determine exactly and hopefully where they think we stand in it. So I'm totally in support of this. I think this is a real opportunity for, as a board, to address these issues that unfortunately have been put before us.
I'm ready.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to go just exactly opposite what you said.
Okay.
I'm absolutely against it. I'll tell you why. I do not like bringing somebody in here to do our job. I know you've already said you don't feel comfortable doing that. Well, if you're an alderman, you need to feel comfortable doing it. Another thing is that when we do this, we don't, I lost my train of thought there. I don't like to bring people in and come in here and they vote what we need to do. We need to do it ourselves. And I think we need to get a group from our board of mayor and aldermen, 3 or 4, and let them complain to that 3 or 4 committee and let it go from there.
Well, I respect your opinion, which I do. I've respected it for an awful long time.
I know you have.
know. But my issue with this is the fact that we're being hit 2 different, or really 3 different ways. We have employees that have brought stuff to us, but in this nature, we can't, to keep, I'm trying to think of the word, their anonymity, so that they will talk to us, has been limited. I mean, I've had one person talk to me. Somebody else on the board may have that, somebody else. And then there have been you and some of the others, for whatever reason. They don't want to discuss it. Also, in fact, I think it's in fairness to the person where the complaint goes to, because, to a certain extent, we've been blamed, and lawsuits been directed at us, and we're sitting here in the middle. I'm not trained to do this. I don't think there's anybody on this board, and I don't think they're making our decision. I see it as an investigation. Come in. They don't have any dog in the fight. Their job is to come in and address the issues that any of the parties may have, and then come back with a consolidation. Doesn't take it definitely doesn't take the responsibility away from the board for making an ultimate decision. So I think it's a very positive approach for every party that's involved. Ain't got nothing to hide. You ain't got nothing to worry about. And again, it's not, I think one of the things that we've got mixed up here is evaluation. And I agree with you. It's our responsibility to ultimately do the evaluation. But that doesn't say that you don't need outside assistance to help that be evaluated, because we're in between it.
I tell you what's going to happen. We go that route, and we're going to get somebody in here to do grievances and complaints. Then all of a sudden they're going to be doing the evaluations and everything else.
Well, that's an assumption, but which I don't agree with you, but it's an assumption.
It'll happen. I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
And I think it takes the HR person out of that position too. I don't think it's an easy thing to sit here as an employee and get complaints about your employer, and to get complaints from the employee. I think it's a tough situation for our city administrator, because we have had a difficult time trying to identify, in certain extents, exactly what have been told. And in all fairness to him, I think that would be consolidated by having somebody else that knows how to do it. I'll tell you this. I called up the referral we had from Travelers Insurance Company and talked to the person who has had 20 years experience in doing this. She explained how it works. They come here, they interview the people involved. They don't make the decision. They formulate the information and come back with recommendations or stating, based on our findings, we don't think there's really any grounds for this. And we're not the only ones dealing with this. City of Franklin, she wouldn't give me the details, but they got caught in a kind of a situation. She says, we deal with this a lot of times when you're dealing with CEOs that have been complained about. But they don't make the decision, Coach. They virtually come in from an outside, from people who are trained to do this. It's a third party that they're not saying, you're in favor of this and you're in favor of that. You're against this. You're against that. Ultimately, you're right.
Let me tell you.
Yes, sir.
You know what initiated all of this? You had a few individuals who were upset because he was probably a little tough on them. So now it's gone back to the city administrator. All of this goes right back to him, and it's not fair. That's not something we need to do. I'm just telling you. And
well, I appreciate
and
that.
another thing.
So have you been told that by any employees?
Hold on, let's go one at a time.
I'm sorry.
I haven't had any employees come to me complaining. Zero. And I have gone to employees and asked them, I said, tell me. They said, I have no problems.
Okay.
Then we have a group, and a list comes in here and says, we have all these problems. I don't see that.
Okay.
That's where you get into problems, where you have those. Now, another thing, and I'm going to direct this at you. I'm just about tired of hearing about Franklin. They have nothing to do with us.
No, they're an example. They're
I know.
anything. But you got to give an idea of where these things. In Franklin, we don't even know exactly.
That's a big place.
Well, a lot of places.
All right. So
Okay.
Both literally and figuratively right now, I'm right in between these guys right here, because I think that I agree with the concept that is on here, but I can't vote yes on this tonight. I can't vote the way it's presented. I think, once again, we're getting in a hurry. I've said from day one, I think this needs to be put out for an RFP or an RFQ, whichever is appropriate. And I think the respondents and whoever we're going to select from need to be on the agenda packet with the item. So everybody that's looking at it from inside and outside the city knows who's applied and knows what they say, knows exactly what they're going to do. Mr. Toma was mentioning he talked to somebody, and I mean, who is that? It's not in the agenda packet. So Anyway, so I think we need to back up and we need to put out an RFP, RFQ to ask for these services, see what firms respond. We could also, at that time, we could seek people and ask them to respond to it. And then in the meantime, while all that's going on, we can kick around the idea and look into how the system Coach Mathis has described and look out to see how that would work and explore whether we want to do that. So I just don't think that we need to be in some big hurry to do this. Like I said on that other item, this is something that is going to affect a lot of people. It's going to affect a lot of employees, and it's a big change. It's a big change for the city. We haven't done it before. It's not something we need to have a knee-jerk reaction and just do fast. We need to be very deliberative and do this the right way. So tonight I will be voting no on this.
Hold on. Alderman. Is there anyone else that wants to make comment first?
Push the button, yes.
Yes.
I'm not opposed to consulting with someone about these things, and I do think that we need a consultation to help, take a look at some of our policies and maybe recommendation for HR and things, address any complaints. However, I don't, when an item's put on the agenda, I don't ever want somebody making my choice for me. And so I think that if I'm ever going to vote for something, I want to have all the facts, and I would like to see some companies on here that we make a choice of the company, or there needs to be more.
Yeah, it's not there.
That we just don't have all the facts here. And I mean,
but it needs to be here for the
the way that this is without any information included with it, I would have to vote no at this time. And I would actually make a motion to remove this item until we could have the supporting information.
I think we've already had a motion to have the item, so.
Or tabled.
Like to.
Hold on. Alderman Byrd's next.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Byrd.
But she's made a motion to table, and remind me, somebody help me with my Robert's rules on tabling. Well, first of all, we'll have to have a second for that.
My second.
All right, so a second for that. So who wants to speak about tabling first of the two people who made the amendment with a motion to table? Would y'all like to say anything?
Just, what I've already said, that any time that I'm voting, and it kind of is reflected in earlier on the agenda, not having all the information in our agenda packet, that we need to make a decision, and I'm not ready to make a decision on this until I have all of the information in there. And really, not just, and it is for me, that I want to be able to make a sound decision on what I'm doing, but it's also as important for transparency purposes for the public. I think that the public needs to, to always be able to see an application complete with a description of why something's being rezoned, or that we're not just handing things off for other people to do that are out of the public eye.
Mr. Clute.
For the same reasons I said before, and a lot that Alderman Wilson just said, is I think it's premature, and I think we definitely need to do RFP or RFQ on this. I think our purchasing policies demand it. I believe that if we go down this route and hire these people, it's easily going to be over $20,000 a year for what we're asking to be done. $20,000 a year in our purchasing policy requires to be bid. $10,000 requires board approval on what we're doing. So that's our purchasing policy. So I think at the very least we have to follow those. And as Ms. Wilson says, transparency for the public. We don't, and there's no hurry on this. We have our time. Let's do it and do it the right way. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing the right way.
Mr. Byrd, you had your button pushed earlier. Did you want to speak on the tabling? Or we can wait until we get back on that motion.
Since it's a motion to table, the only thing I'd like to say is that I believe before we have a vote on tabling it, giving everyone the opportunity to speak about the original motion. Not everyone had the opportunity to do that, so I don't agree with tabling it at this time.
Okay. Ms. McGee.
I just think that, and I've said this before, for any company, which includes the city, your greatest asset are your employees. Now, I will say I've not received any grievances or concerns. However, being someone who has been in leadership for many, many years on my job, no one has really talked about the employees and how they feel, whoever they may be, that have turned in grievances. I think it's only fair to them that we put something in place that they feel safe when they do have a grievance. They need someone that they can go to. And that's not really been discussed. And the only way to do that, in my opinion, is to get someone, a third-party person, someone who would not be partial one way or the other, either protect the person who's has the concern or protect the person who the concern is against, however which way it goes. And I think we need to do that sooner than later, because what's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of employees who feel like what they say is not important. And then they're going to feel like they're not important. And then what you're going to do is you're going to have a mass exodus. And that wouldn't be good for the city.
A statement on this, it may be clear to you. When we've been discussing the potential for lawsuits and so forth, we're virtually asking the city attorney to retain an HR firm. Is that legally liable?
Let me ask that question.
Yeah,
so
please.
First of all, could the attorney's office describe how you would anticipate going about this process? I think we talked about that some last time, but considering that we've changed this motion, can you clarify again what you think your process is for doing that? Will there be a choice involved for the Board of Mayor and Aldermen?
Are you talking about whether or not we're going to do an RFP or
at least a selection of choices of who would be hired?
The board would have the choice ultimately as to which HR firm would be picked. Steve and I do not want to choose that. We don't mind bringing you all resources or you doing your own, research to provide other resources to the board. We don't want to pick who that is. We think that the board should pick who they're going to retain as far as the HR firm goes. As to statement about the RFP, we met with the finance department when we were authorized previously to look into HR services. We met with the finance department. The finance department, I hate to throw you under the bus, Sue, but Sue indicated to us that we could use our attorney contract. Our attorney contract with the city allows us to retain outside firms for additional resources that the city may need or for additional needs for the city. And so that part of our contract could be used so that we could bypass the RFP process, is what was relayed to us. And so that's why we brought that back this way.
Okay.
And it was, let me say this, a citizen brought up that it was stated that there's not a from line on this, and so therefore somehow it should be not proper for you all to vote or discuss about this item. I totally disagree with that. I don't think there's anything that absolutely requires an agenda item to state who it's from, but just in case it does. It was from our office. This was from the city attorney's office at the direction of certain board members to place this item on the agenda.
Hold on. Let's go in order. Okay. Ms. Wilson.
Yes, and I agree with what Alderman McGee has stated 100%. And, I guess where I am, though, is that as this reads, to me, that it says authorize the city attorney's office to retain an HR firm for the following items. But it doesn't say that we're coming back at a future date with some choices, or that's where I am, and that's why that I had suggested that we table this until we're able to satisfy for what we're voting on.
So why would we not amend it to say that the city attorney's office is going to bring us those choices? Why? Mr. Tullahoma.
Yes. I respect everybody's opinion, and we're going to have different opinions. My concern, and I agree with Ms. McGee, this has been hanging over the head of all parties involved in it. And I don't recommend we just jump into it not, but I think the situation is we owe it to our employees to give them some tool to be able to be comfortable to talk to somebody. And, they're not going to address, I'll be honest with you, the people I've talked to, and to be honest with you, to address it, were reluctant to speak to me because of some comments that were made. And I think there's some reluctance, and I hate to say it, but maybe with some people, other people in here. It's just the way it is. I don't want to put this in a position where if we vote that we can't bring it back up. And I guess the table...
Then you can bring it back up.
Can back it back
and then
up.
And then it's brought back up and you have all the information and then you vote on it.
Yeah. And when you talk about RSP or whatever, the person who writes that, do we go back to our city attorney to ask them to do it? I think so there's a lot more involved. I'm really concerned about where we stand, where everybody stands. Table it. How long is it going to take it? How long are the employees? How long is the city administrator? It's an involvement that I'd like to and feel that this addresses properly.
For tabling it would have to bring up the next meeting.
Okay.
And then we would have CVs, or there would be more information in here as to who are we going to get to do that information for us?
We have city staff that does RFQs, RFPs, and I think a lot of what would be in the RFP would be the information that was written here in the agenda item, that it says the 3 things that we would like for the firms that are applying to do. I agree, and I agree with Alderman McGee, and I agree with everybody here that I want to protect the employees, but I also want to protect management, and I want to protect this board. And I want to have somebody that we choose and that we know all our options that are out there. And I don't really think I think an RFP process will take a few weeks. I don't think that is too long to make this drastic of a decision and change to our policies, to wait a few weeks, see what we get, and be able to choose from them. Because right now, and maybe I misunderstand the way this is written, but this is authorizing the city attorneys to hire someone based on their contract. And I have to state that I do disagree with, I don't disagree that they could hire somebody, but I don't agree that they could hire somebody at the dollar figures that this will probably cost. I think our purchasing policy has dollar figures attached to certain levels of buying that we can do. And I don't think the city attorneys would be any different than any other employee, Parks and Rec director, Public Works director. When an item gets to a certain dollar figure, it has to go out to bid or RFP process. So I think the best thing to do is do that. For a lot of reasons, the best thing to do. And then we could see the choices. Everybody it will be transparent. Everybody in the public will see the choices that come to our agenda, and they see who we're choosing from, and then we choose a firm and we go forward, and hopefully everybody will be happy.
Mr. Quick is recognized.
You know, I pressed that button so long ago, I can't remember.
So, Mr. Quick, I think the chair has the discretion to let the alderman on the board speak first.
Okay, good. I'm just trying to, this is what it was from the from, so for Lori, to make sure we're reporting this right, it's from the city attorney that this item 25126, or would you say it came from all of it?
I said it came from the city attorney's office to put it on the agenda at the direction of members of the board.
I have another thing
Yes,
too,
ma'am.
and I'm not against, again, the items here. My issue is that I don't like to vote on things that the public doesn't have a chance to see the supplemental information about what firms that we're looking at. I mean, I think that needs to be included in this.
Yes, ma'am.
And which is why that I don't want to vote no on it. I would rather table it until we have all the information.
So understand. So I have a couple comments. So,
Mayor, I hate to say it, Sue's Farms.
She's been up, her hand has been up for a long time.
I'm sorry, I did not see you. Ms. Wilson, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to follow through since Ms. Hoskins mentioned my name and clarify that what I said is that in their contract, they are allowed to hire specialty legal firms, not an HR firm, but to be a legal firm in HR.
So thank you for that.
With the approval of the mayor of the city.
So
With the approval of the board or the mayor? Under the board or under just the mayor?
Their contract says mayor or city administrator, but specifies for litigation, it's supposed to be a specialty legal firm, not just a generic.
This isn't litigation.
So
And that's correct, and of course, we contacted the law firms that specialize in this,
in HR work.
in conjunction for that particular provision. Not just generic HR people, law firms.
Right. So a couple things I wanted to ask, because when we first tasked you with looking at this several meetings ago now, I've lost track. You went out and did a lot of research, and you told us. Then could you explain again what you found in terms of the number of HR firms that would be available to do the things that we're talking about here tonight, which is a little different than what we asked you last time. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, I'll be glad to. So it's, I don't want to say that there are none of these out there, but it's pretty hard to find somebody to do exactly what we're talking about tonight, which is just handle complaints and grievances from employees for the city. And we probably could more easily find someone to review personnel policies or regulations. But then for someone to come in and look at our HR department as is and make recommendations about what improvements we can make or what needs to be outsourced, it's not that easy to find those kind of people. I said it before and I'll say it again, of course you all are free to do your own research, but what we did was we contacted our insurance provider who directed us directly to an attorney. Provided that attorney's contact information along with all of the information that she provided to me, to you all several times. I provided you the opportunity to reach out and interview her yourself if you wanted to. Mr. Worsham contacted an attorney who had done HR trainings at MTAS conferences that he thought maybe could help point us in the right direction, and she did that, and her contact information and all the information she provided to him has also been provided to the board. So those are two potential options, one recommended by our insurance provider for the board to choose from. But again, I said back weeks ago, you all are free to do your own research. I'm not aware of any board member so far that has done that. Or really that is, aside from Alderman Toma, that's even reached out to the two resources that we provided. So again, this is not Steve and I saying we want to pick who this is going to be. We don't. We want the board to choose that.
but we provided you with the resources that we found, and what it seems like we're hearing is, well, we want more options, we want more resources. Where do you want us to look? We went to MTAS, we went to our insurance provider. We've done, I think, exactly what we've been asked to do. So, I mean, we don't mind trying to continue to find resources, but I don't know who to ask if our insurance provider and MTAS can't point us in the direction of further resources.
Thank you.
Go ahead, push my button. Oh.
So, hold on. So to me, part of this discussion is coming down as to whether we have any immediate need or not. I believe we do have some immediate need, because I've had people come to me as well. And I'm concerned that if we don't take some kind of action, we're just going to kick this down the road another month, another month, another month. And at some point, we have an issue or we don't. And if we do, we need to get it fixed. I also have some concern about, it seemed last time when we asked for an RFP, there was some internal discussion about who should be responsible for doing that. So if we're going to ask for RFPs, I think we should specify someone responsible to get it done in a reasonable time frame that we would specify, so that we don't delay anymore. So I don't know.
Who is responsible in the city org chart to do RFPs?
Good question.
Is it the purchasing department? Then I think if that's the route we agree to go, and that's a route I recommend, I would say that we direct the purchasing department to prepare an RFP.
Okay.
And that certainly is, I'm not opposed to doing that that way either, but I just wanted to just reiterate that just because we have received things in our emails about potential choices, I still feel like that it needs to be a part of the agenda. And again, it's no different than, details in the application from earlier. I think that, when we're sitting up here and we're doing things, the public needs to be included in what we're doing, and they need to be able to see more detail about it.
Yeah, when we vote on anything, if we're purchasing a garbage truck, for instance, or whatever, the information is there, how it went for bid, and who are all the people that bid on the item. It's all listed, and it's all out there for everyone to see.
So let's deal with this motion to table first, because we really can't talk about all the other stuff until we do that. So
May I ask one question?
Yes.
Is the hang up, from what I gather, is being able to put this out to bid, and for us to it says that the attorney retained, but change the wording that information comes to us and it's our responsibility? Is that kind of the hang up in this? I just want to make sure that I don't want it to disappear.
So
I don't want
I agree.
it to, and I don't
wouldn't
want
it to.
So if
our
we
choice this evening is we could agree not to table it, and then someone could make an amendment to that effect.
So we won't lose it if we table it. That's what I'm asking.
No, we won't lose if we table it. But if you want,
It's brought back up.
if you want to have any action on it tonight, then we need to not table it and then make a motion to amend it to what we do want.
I will be know what to amend it to do.
So I thought we just had a big long discussion here about wanting RFPs. So why can we not make an amendment to request that?
Might be the route.
Okay. So we're making an amendment.
Not yet.
I'm just
Right now, we have a motion on the
So I
floor
have a motion to
table.
table it, but if somebody would like to make a motion to,
We could withdraw our motion.
I could withdraw
my
that, and
second.
somebody else could make I'll temporarily withdraw my
Well, you can always
motion.
make it again. So
I can always make it again.
So make sure that I'm not.
All right, so the motion to table is withdrawn, so we're back to the main motion here, and we're having a discussion whether someone wants to make an attempt to amend this in a way that would satisfy us. So
I'll make a motion, amended motion, and that is to send all this information that we have here to the purchasing department, have them issue an RFP or RFQ, whichever one is proper, for these services.
These all three items? There's three items.
Yeah, the three items.
Okay.
That will be, and like I said, that would be your big start on the RFP right there. Those are the three items that we're asking for. advertise it out in that manner. And we already have a couple of responses. They could be put in, and we might get more responses. That's what I would hope for, because that's when you open it up for the public at large. There'll be people apply for it. It goes on these services that sends it out to the type of vendors that do this work. So you might be surprised what we get. And maybe we don't get anyone else, but then we would know that. And then when the item is brought back, the proposals from the people would be included in our agenda packet for us and the public to see. They will know exactly what we're voting on. And I think transparency demands that.
Do we have a second? Yeah, we get a second. I was going to say, because we've devolved right into discussion. So
that was a long motion.
That was. Yeah, I hope you didn't have to repeat that.
And I pushed my button.
Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with that, because there needs to be, there needs to be more people. The public needs to know what it is that we're doing here.
All right. Any other discussion?
If we do this, I did push the button.
Yeah,
by
I'm
the way,
sorry.
okay.
I don't always remember to look at it. I
We make
apologize.
sure that we don't drag this out. I don't mind doing. I don't
want to drag it out.
No, absolutely not.
But how do we address? Okay, they do an purchasing agent. Would it not be appropriate for us to review that, or we just accept that? And then if we do, in other words, they're going to put this out. What's the wording in there are we just going to put this?
It'd be these items.
Just put those items in there and ask them to come back to us.
So to me, there might be some additional information that a bidder might want to know, like how big's the city, how many employees, but I think we can give them discretion to include those things in RFP.
Yeah, I think that would be stuff that legally that they'll provide in every RFP they put out. So I don't.
Those are just issues of fact.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Can we still offer a time limit to get this back in? Is that appropriate for something like this?
I think it's prescribed on a. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sue, but it's prescribed. You put it. It stays out for 10 days, or there is a time frame that's.
So you do think it would be back by our next meeting?
Yes, I think it should.
Okay. I can live with that.
Easily.
And correct me if I'm wrong, our next meeting isn't until December.
So we
Right.
have this right. Because of Thanksgiving, we wouldn't have the second meeting in November. And so that would give plenty of time, and we could put a cutoff time before our agenda for the next meeting or whatever.
Yes.
I don't want it to disappear.
Whatever would be appropriate. No.
Yeah, I think we could do it fast.
Any other comments?
Okay, no problem with that.
If not, then I'll call the vote here. Motion carries 6-1. Next item on our agenda is resolution number 2037, a resolution to amend the personnel regulations pursuant to Title IV, Chapter 1, Section 402 of the Municipal Code of the City of Tullahoma, Tennessee. And I'm going to read this resolution so everyone can know what we're voting on. The resolution reads, whereas the City of Tullahoma seeks to maintain a consistent and uniform set of adopted rules and procedures for the administration of personnel matters, and whereas pursuant to Title IV, Chapter 1, Section 4102 of the Municipal Code of Ordinances of the City of Tullahoma, Tennessee, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen deem it advisable to amend the said chapter by enacting additional provisions thereunto. Now therefore it be resolved by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Tullahoma, Tennessee as follows. Section 1, in Chapter 12 of said regulations, discipline and grievance procedures in Section 12.5A thereof, same shall be amended to add paragraph 8 thereto, which shall provide, quote, when an employee has a grievance or a complaint against either a department head or the city administrator, said employee shall have the option of filing same in writing with the person, firm, or entity selected by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to address said grievances or complaints, and said person, firm, or entity shall then make recommendations to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for disposition and or resolution thereof. Section 2 just says that this resolution shall take effect and be at full force from and after its passage, the public welfare requiring. So that's the resolution. Discussion. We have a motion in a second. So, Ms. Wilson.
So would this not be premature? Would this not be something that we would vote on following the next vote? This in the coming.
I think I agree with that, Alderman Wilson.
Because we wouldn't want to make any changes to our regulations before we
and I
know
think,
what we're going to do.
And I think maybe the firm we select could help us with this edit to the personnel policy. I called this out because I think the edit to the personnel policy is definitely necessary if we're going to add this in, because it provides the mechanism where an employee can do it. Because if it's not included in the personnel policy, then they would be operating outside of the regulations to be complaining to an outside firm. But so it has to be added in there. I think some discussion and thought should go into possibly the wording here. I know throughout, if anybody's taken the time to look at the personnel regulations and see the grievance procedures, each step of the way it's multiple steps to where, so if you're an employee and you have a complaint about something your supervisor did to you, you would complain to your supervisor, file a grievance with your supervisor. He has the opportunity to correct that situation. If he doesn't correct it within to the employee's satisfaction, that employee has the right to appeal to the next step up in the chain of command. So my thoughts here are, would we want, and I might be getting too far ahead because I think this does need to be done after we hire somebody, but what I'm saying is, do we need to have it to where the department head or city administrator has the ability to try to remedy the situation after they hear the complaint before it goes to an outside firm? If the department head or city administrator can't or won't remedy it, then the employee has the automatic appeal right to go to the outside firm. This, I think, is a twofold advantage to the city because, for one, it lets us fix things in-house, and I think that the supervisor and the management, sometimes they might be shocked that I didn't know that I was doing that, or that was upsetting you. I won't do that anymore. Sorry, so they might go on, or maybe, maybe it requires that. But so the twofold, we could handle it in-house, and then secondly, it would prevent more complaints going to an outside firm, that every time a complaint goes to this outside firm that we hire, it's going to cost quite a bit of money, I would assume.
So I think I disagree with you on that. The option, as it reads here right now, it says said employee shall have the option of filing. Yeah. So they've always got the option. They don't have to do that. But I think there are some issues that are severe enough that requiring the employee to make that approach to the offender is severe enough that that's not reasonable to ask them to do that. And so I think we need to be able to protect people from those sort of situations. Mr. Thomas?
Yeah, I think that the word option is important in here. They may get into it, and I'm upset, like you said, but it might be an opportunity at that time for that individual. Okay, I'm ticked off because he told me to use a shovel or something like that, and that's probably an extreme. But I do think it gives the opportunity both ways is the way I read this. So,
as far as waiting, right now our policy just has a hole in it. And if we pass it now, we don't have to worry about passing it later. But that's up to the pleasure of the board.
If we pass it now and don't have anything in place, it's
well, we don't have anything in place now.
Right, that's right. But if we pass this and say you can complain to an outside firm, and there is no outside firm for them to complain to, that's why I think it'd be premature.
Yeah. Okay. Which is why that I said I think it's premature until we come back about the with the full packet next time.
Okay, Mr. Byrd.
Yeah. No, I was just going to echo a little bit of what the mayor said. If the employee has to go to their supervisor first, it might cause employees not to report issues, which is kind of where we're at right now. is that there have been things going on that haven't been reported, and it's built to a head. So having that ability to choose to go to a third party, I think, is a good idea. And also, yes, this might be a little bit premature before we have a firm in place, but I don't think there's anything wrong with setting groundwork for something. If we end up choosing not to bring in a third party, then we could always go back and remove this part. But having it in there wouldn't hurt anything for a future vote.
Well,
Did you put this
I
in there?
disagree that it hurts because you're putting it in there and there's nowhere for them to go. I mean, that's what, I'm not saying that it won't go. I think it definitely needs to be in there, yes. But I think you need for them to have somewhere to go before you tell them you can go somewhere.
Then that would also cause this board to need to hire someone, which is probably a good thing. It would put the burden back on us so that we couldn't, like Bush said, let this keep pushing on further and further at some point.
I don't think anyone on this board thinks we should keep pushing it forward. I think we want to act.
Right. I'm saying that it might not be a bad thing to cause some accountability for us in that.
Well,
There's
you just
really
said
nothing
that
in
you could
here
remove it.
Let's go one at a time. Let's go one at a time.
I think the wording on this still gives the board today to choose a person, firm, or entity selected by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. We could temporarily select somebody to fill that now.
I think we just wait until
we could do it. At least if we get sidetracked on this thing, it at least gets somebody
we'll get
placed.
sidetracked.
Well, I hope not, but you know how government works, I've been told. But I think it gives two options.
Mr. Quick.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding, this is adding paragraph 8, so it's adding number 8 to that, is that correct?
To what?
So you're adding that, just adding it.
As it says here in the draft resolution, in Chapter 12 of said regulations, discipline and grievance procedures, in Section 12.5A thereof, the same shall be amended to add paragraph 8 thereto, which shall provide when an employee has a grievance or complaint against either department head or the city administrator, said employee shall have the option of filing same in writing with the person, firm, or entity selected by the board of mayor and aldermen to address said grievances or complaints, and said person, firm, or entity shall then make recommendations to the board, mayor, and aldermen for disposition and/or resolution thereof.
I have my button.
Before, right now, I just wanted to correct something that said that we don't have anything now. If a grievance is directed against a department head, the employee has the right to direct a grievance to the city administrator in writing. The city administrator shall fully discuss the grievance with the employee, the employee's department head, human resources director, and any other parties deemed relevant by the city administrator. So if there is a concern at this moment regarding the department head, there is something already in our policy that allows this. Does A conflict with 4?
I would think that the new policy would have to say this after if they didn't feel like they were satisfied by the city administrator, then they would go to the outside firm, but they have to go to the city administrator first.
Almost like
It's the current process. This will just add one step at the end, one more recourse for appeal.
And all of this to me is a reason why that it seems premature until this needs to be brought back when we look at the other stuff.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think it would be almost improper not to wait until we have the way it was laid out before.
Well, I'll just say I'm voting no, and it's not because I don't think it needs to be in there. I'm voting no because I think it's not the right time.
Or somebody that made this agenda item could remove it, withdraw it and then put it back on for when we are considering it.
We're
already talking about it.
Yeah, we have a motion second already.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make.
Yes, sir.
I prepared this
Yep.
at the direction of some aldermen. And the reason why it directly addresses grievances that people have against the city administrator, which our personnel regulations do not have a provision for at this time. We also had a department that you can amend this any way you want to if you want to enact it tonight. But there was some concern about no avenue for addressing grievances
against the city administrator, which is something we discussed before.
Yes. All right.
May I ask just one last thing, may I ask the board to do me a favor, would you also consider putting in personnel policy how grievances that are submitted by the city administrator against the mayor or other aldermen, how that would be addressed as well? Is that something we could put on the board?
Well, we're not employees.
Sir?
We're not employees. We are paid, but we're not technically an employee. So when you have, how would you put a grievance against? Well, I know you're an employee. You certainly are an employee. Position is very valuable.
My question is, should it be in the personnel policy if the city administrator has a grievance? Where would that grievance be addressed? Just something to consider.
Hopefully to this third party when we have an opportunity to hire them. So you'll have a direct, that's an employer-employee deal. Well, maybe we are your employer, but.
My question is the city administrator covered by the personnel regulations?
Yes.
Are they? Okay. Okay, well then I think it should be added in there for him to have that as well.
Well, and all of that, you know, is why that I think that it's premature to have that we're voting on this now. It should be brought back when we are voting on the other thing.
What it should say.
In my opinion.
And there's no.
So do we have any other additional amendments for the item as it's written right now? Or any other additional comments for the item as it's written right now?
I think there's a lot of things that we could,
Yeah,
a lot of ways that we could tweak
Do we
this.
have any right now? Because we're kind of starting to repeat ourselves.
Okay, one last thing that I'll say, and I won't say anything else, I promise, is I just think that this is needed, but it's not the right time. I don't think we know exactly what the wording of it should be. And even if we passed it, there's nowhere for anyone to go with any grievance that this would cover until we hire the firm anyway. So why don't we just hold on and everybody kind of kick it around at home, tweak the wording, and maybe our attorneys could do that as well from what they've heard here tonight. And then we put it on the agenda just as it was tonight, right after the item when we hire the firm.
And I guess I have some kind of housekeeping issues. So if we vote on this, would we be able to bring it back when we've already voted on it?
Well, I think we've already said we're going to change it, and if you change it, then you can.
But we haven't voted.
Yeah, but
if we vote on it tonight, she's saying, yeah.
So, but it was kind of pointed out, well, we can always bring it back and tweak it or whatever, but I'm not sure that we can.
So, sorry.
Someone who votes against it would have to bring it back up at the next meeting. So if you all are planning.
We could have a motion to reconsider.
If we're going to do an RFP or RFQ, whatever it is for the previous item number 11, then if this item first, I think Alderman Gluck, I think you can remove it from the agenda.
You can withdraw your motion, she means.
But if you don't want to do that, if it is voted on and it is voted down, whether or not it can be brought back up, it would have to be someone that voted it down.
I withdraw my motion.
Yeah, and that's just messy.
Okay.
So we'll,
If you change the resolution, if you change the wording, it's not the same item again, so anybody can bring it back.
Right, yeah. So I'll withdraw my motion if that works.
So the motion is withdrawn. Is there anyone that would like to make a motion to consider it? If not, the motion fails tonight for lack of a motion. The item fails for lack of a motion. All right. Everyone good with that? All right. Last item, garbage truck.
We got this packet.
I've like buried it in the back of my packet somewhere. All right. So we have an item from Public Works about So yes, sir. Can we have a report from staff?
Yes, this falls under the category of the could not have worse time. The used for our local garbage routes, through an engine on Friday. To replace the engine, it's going to cost us, $90,000, let's say.
to put it into a truck that's already needing to be surplus. So we are asking that we go ahead and just purchase a brand new truck, be done with it, start the clock over. We have it on Sourcewell pricing, and we'll be using funds from the TMDF loan funds that we've had.
Is there any possibility for any surplus of this thing, or is this just kaput, scrap?
That's what I was going to say, but I'll cancel my thing.
Typically, they might try to use parts with it, but with something of this nature, they're usually not going to be able to do anything more than scrap and sell for parts.
Okay.
In the past, some of these trucks, we have scrap used parts off of for other trucks. That's why we try to keep the same run of trucks that we have. Some parts are good, some parts are bad. Then in the end process, which it would end up more than likely going to CFC recycling. That's where it probably end up at.
All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, they pay us monthly. And trust me, I was not planning to be here tonight to have a $400,000 garbage truck. I was actually off today. Threw this thing together here at the last minute. Found out.
Appreciate that.
One of the good things about this though is Eric Pierce has been able to secure a truck, and it could be due within a week, which is unheard of. This type of situation, usually months, maybe even a year out. So for us to get that now, it's guts.
We've been meeting on the phone, I give that to Eric. He's been meeting on the phones with various vendors that we deal with, trying to find one. We did locate one. One of our vendors that we deal with quite frequently, they had 2 trucks, one's already gone. My understanding, they said they would give us a few days to try to get this worked out, make sure they would hold it, but they can't hold it long, they gotta move it.
I just wanted to make a comment and commend Public Works staff on this. I looked up when we bought the Sidewinder last year.
So yeah, we don't have a motion yet, actually. So, okay.
We don't have a motion.
There you go. Go ahead.
My bad. When we bought the Sidewinder truck last year, it was a several-month delivery time and was also about $1,000 more expensive. So a year later, being able to buy a similar truck for a little bit less with a 1 to 2 week delivery time is very impressive.
Same thing about metal. Garbage trucks are mostly metal, and the price can easily jump. Day, 2 week, easy.
All right. Any other discussion?
There could be a city out there that really, kind of might even be willing to purchase it to put an engine in it. I mean,
I'm sure though.
as far as the surplus, I mean, you never know if they don't have.
Garbage trucks. Yeah, yes, you're right too.
Yeah.
You know, we typically try to replace these garbage trucks every 6-7 years. If we try to stretch that, or disaster, try to stretch that in the past. I mean, this truck's 8 years old. It's got 15,000, almost 16,000 hours on it. I mean, we've been trying to stretch these as long as we can, but we reached a point where we can't stretch them. We have 6 front-line refuge trucks, so if you base that on every 6 years, you're almost replacing one every year. So, I mean, that's just the nature of the beast.
Appreciate all the work y'all do to stretch it out. I think all of our departments do a good job of that. You just take it as it comes. Any other discussion? Let's vote on it then. Motion passes 7-0. Who gets to use the new truck?
I think we all should take a ride.
It should be in the Christmas parade.
With that, we're adjourned. All right, you got stuff to contract for me to sign.